Oh, you fucking Italian dick!
Forza Valley, Forza Valley. Hola.
Espanolo! We're in Jerez, testing the latest superbikes.
Yes, indeed. We've got the 2017 BMW S1000RR, which is the benchmark. And we've got the
GSX-R1000R.
not just the base model, the R.
Full jizzery. On the Bridgestone VO2 control tyre slick, we'll be testing lap times
All elements of circuit riding.
to find out who's the best. Can I introduce everyone to our favourite track snack?
Yeah.
It is from Mr. Corn, and it is the Snack Attraction Mix 5.
It's definitely an attraction. It's like a collection of toenails, just offcuts.
It's all the bits they swept off the factory floor and then put in one packet
yeah.
of deliciousness.
But it tastes so good. This is the best find so far.
I'm glad I came to Jerez just for that.
Sun's out,
Sun's out, guns out.
dry track, open pit lane. It doesn't really get any better than that, does it?
Two of the best superbikes available. Obviously, this is the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, the 17 is pretty much the same as the 16 and the 15, just with a different exhaust TU4 thing. And this is the bike that everyone wants to know about. So should we start with the Suzuki then?
Let's start with the Suzuki.
Okay.
I went out on that first and was immediately impressed. It feels lighter. It feels 10 kilos lighter than the old bike. Obviously, there's so much more power, and the first thing that struck me was the engine. It's that VVT variable valve timing where it makes power all the way through the rev range. And I was kind of, I don't know about you, but I was kind of skeptical about the marketing hype and all this sort of the stuff behind it, but it actually works.
It definitely works.
Yeah.
It's rompant. Is that a word?
It's like a rampant and romp.
Yeah, it's a rampant romp.
Yeah.
And it for me, it feels like it's got the jump on the Beamer out the corners as well.
Yes.
And that, as we all know, is a stonking power plant in there.
Yeah, I mean, the BMW has always felt like you're riding a bike that's a 1200 flat four, not 1000.
Yeah.
This is the only bike, or was the only bike, that had a conventional across the frame four that felt exciting.
Yeah.
The others, you had to have a V4, the Aprilia, the crossplane R1, and they just didn't.
It's the sheer brutality of it that made it feel special.
Yeah.
But I think, and we don't, all numbers on bits of paper, I know you don't believe in numbers, generally. That's what he says all the time. But this has got the jump on it, hasn't it?
Definitely.
For power.
Yeah. The thing I love about the Suzuki, the old bikes, they were great. They were really nice, and that's the thing, nice. But they didn't jump out at you and grab you by the bollocks like the rest of them have. This thing, it makes all right noises. It's got a sort of edge to it, and it just feels way more exciting.
Absolutely, and it's been a terribly long time coming.
Yes.
From the glory days of the K5, which that S1000 was designed to beat. And now this has been designed to beat that. We'll just wait for the beer
Cruise
lorry to go
Campo.
past. Yeah, so it's a kind of a nice full circle, which is why we thought we'd put it up against the benchmark, which is the S1000RR. But yeah, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad they delayed it a year to do whatever they did, because it's worked. It's amazing. I love it.
For me, apart from the engine, I think the way it goes into a corner, the way it steers, it's just more fluid. Certainly around, obviously every environment is different, but certainly around her head, it's way more fluid than the BMW.
Yeah.
And just a little bit faster.
I mean, we say, I mean, it's noticeable, tangible difference, but you know, that BMW is still an incredible bike.
Yeah.
Still an incredible bike. It's just that it's apparent and it becomes clear that this is the one that we both want to ride. This is the one that feels more stable. It feels like you can push it a bit further.
Yeah.
And it's got a bit more confidence about it. It feels
just
sure-footed. Whereas the Beamer just, I don't know, there's an edge to it which isn't a necessarily warm, comfortable edge. Whereas that, I love. One of the main comments about this new GSX-R is the size of the exhaust, and it sends me a bit mad.
Yeah.
And look, it's a stock can that's EU4, and just take it off. If you don't like it, just take it off. And there's quite a lot of technology in that can. They've tried to squeeze quite a lot on it. If you whip that off and put a slip-on straight on, what, 200 quid? Pipe works or something? Job done. So it's just stop judging the whole bike because it's got a massive exhaust. Get used to the massive exhaust because it's coming.
I will say though, you know, more and more purchase decisions are being based on the looks of bikes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that everyone is making good bikes now.
Yeah.
You know, with Honda and Suzuki now making proper super bikes again,
Yeah.
there isn't a crap bike in that litre range. There isn't one you go, ooh, gutted.
Yeah.
Oh mate, you're
got
on.
the shitter.
Yeah.
I agree. They're all good.
Yeah.
They're just various flavours of good.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way of describing it.
Flavours, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to, because it's just that we both prefer this flavour,
Yeah.
but someone else may get on better with the BMW, because it is very close. And
Yeah.
you know, the last few laps I was doing on that, I was actually really, really enjoying it. The quick shifter and the blipper feel much sharper, much more confident. Like, it never feels like it's going to fail.
No.
Whereas a few times on that, it's had a bit of a, oh, hang on, boom, boom.
You do tend to get neutral. So if you go from second to first with the blipper, we've a couple of times now we've gone into the hairpins and had to use second because it doesn't like using first for the hairpins just because of the blipper. But
yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually, because the BMW, we don't really have any complaints about the BMW.
No.
It's brilliant.
No,
it's
true.
fantastic. We don't have any. There's nothing wrong with the BMW, but there is something that's very right with that, which I will put up with the idiosyncrasies of that to ride that.
Yeah.
But there are things wrong with it, like the blipper isn't quite as sharp as it should be. The throttle and the fueling is a little bit mid-corner, just those little applications. In A mode.
In A mode. In B mode, it's
but
too smooth.
But, yeah, okay, but I mean, A is the track mode. That's what it should be ridden in here. That's what they designed it to do. And it is just like a bit mid-corner, just, hang on, and it unsettles the bike a bit. But I'm sure someone that knows what they're doing with an ECU flasher will be able to sort that out, if you can be bothered to do it. I mean, you're only going to notice it when you're on the limit, and it's only going to cause a problem if you literally are on the limit
And also the brakes on the BMW are better than the Suzuki.
Yeah, much more bite.
More bite, more power, and more importantly, you're coming up here at 160 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Slam on the brakes, and that has a bit of run on the ABS.
It does have a bit of run on, yeah.
So,
and you can turn the ABS off via a switch on that bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's nothing actually wrong with that bike.
Absolutely nothing.
And actually, you know, and when you're around it and touching it and doing things, and it does feel like it's a more quality item, I will say that.
Yeah.
Like the Suzuki does still feel like a Suzuki. It does still have a little kind of random skanky water pump that's sort of
that water
out.
pump is bad, isn't it?
And, and you know, you can see where they've saved a bit of money. And I say save money because these spec bikes are exactly the same price.
Yep, 16-ish grand.
16-ish grand. And yeah, you're not buying a premium finish with this bike. Although the paintwork is beautiful, I'll say that. But it's the kind of the welds and the bits and bobs which, you know, your German customer wouldn't accept. However, we'd still take that one.
Another thing that's worth talking about is the suspension on the BFF forks now.
Best friends forever.
Best friends forever forks. They were on the Kawasaki last year, obviously, and this year. And rumour has it that Suzuki didn't bring the R out or this model out because it had these forks on, and Kawasaki had the rights for a year.
Right.
Just a vicious rumour, but it might be true, might not be, but it sounds good. Sounds reasonable.
Sounds like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than just two fat Englishmen in the sunshine on a deck chair.
Burning their foreheads.
I know, I'm a bit...
Those forks make everything better. They're so... the brakes aren't fantastic. They're just... It says Brembo on the caliper, but it's like having OE Japanese tyres. You know, they're not the same tyres that the aftermarket ones are, and those brakes, the whole brake setup isn't as good, certainly as a BMW, but the forks, just super plush, make braking and corner entry and just sexy.
Quite like the dash. It's a bit retro.
Yeah.
It's like Casio retro.
Casio Tone Bank.
Yeah.
Or one of those, what's the game? Tennis game?
Pong. It's a bit better than Pong.
But it's in equivalent to your new TFTs and KTMs and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I do still rate and like the analog tack on the S1000 as well.
Yeah.
So both good, just in their own flavours. Quite intuitive mode selects and stuff as well through that.
Yeah, like that. Just tap a button, tap the mode button, and toggle through your modes and your TC. And I got to say, you know, that from a track perspective, that TC is very, very good.
It's very good. It does. It definitely feels like it's taking into account the slide.
Yeah.
Rather than just cutting it.
Yeah.
And it feels, I mean, just all over the place. It feels better bike, but marginally, 1% better everywhere.
It's tiny, yeah. But ultimately, that is the bike that I would take home tomorrow.
It's the bike I'd take home tomorrow. Mate, someone can hit that toenail tomorrow and affect them into turn one. It's brilliant rolling up there in turn one, isn't it?
Stunning.
Actually, it's the only corner after a long straight that I like braking for.
It's uphill, there's camber with you, and it's just one of the most iconic corners and sights. You know,
under this thing, it's
UFO.
UFO. UFO. Yeah. So, in fact, should we talk a bit about corner entry on both bikes? Should we go through Suzuki?
I was going to mention my quest.
Okay. So, you're coming under this at what, 160 mile an hour?
Yep. Both bikes in fourth gear.
Yep. Fourth, everywhere was probably the top gear really you need to be in.
Exactly.
Round the reth, and there's two pretty fast straights here as well.
The gear patterns are identical. I think you use second and third, and everywhere you want to.
Okay, so barreling in here, 160 mile an hour, onto the anchors. Initial bite better from the BMW.
Definitely.
You feel like you've got a lot of your braking out the way quicker. But saying that, this still will get you stopped. It's more the detachment rather than, they both probably perform the same in terms of actual braking, but this just feels a little bit more detached. That feels more direct, like a standard two-line setup.
Yeah, exactly, and particularly into here, when you've got that ABS kicking in, and running on. Like you said, it probably does exactly the same thing, but when you've got that sort of movement through the bar and then it runs on and the movement through the bar, it just kind of ruins it. And you get round here again and you're braking a bit earlier, or and less aggressively because you don't want it to happen again. And tipping in from braking to apex, this is where for me this leaves the BMW. It's got, it's a tenth everywhere, but it's it's a tangible tenth.
Yeah.
It feels, like I said, it's only a tenth on the stopwatch, but it makes you. There's more confidence. It's more agility, a little bit more agility. It's more neutral, and it's more willing to find an apex than the BMW.
Yeah, so. It's funny, and I never thought I'd say it because this is the best. This was the granddaddy of technology in motorbikes. Yeah. But would you agree with me that it starts to feel a little bit old?
Yes.
And I don't really know why, but it's just starting to feel a little bit old.
Yeah. It is coming to the end of its lifetime. It's essentially the same bike, 7 years old.
Yeah.
So whether or not this HP4 race will make an appearance in road form next year,
who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely got the confidence. Again, for me, it's just confidence. It just feels like you can. It's those forks.
Yeah.
It just feels that you can hold the brakes longer as well. And it's just letting you go in there nice and comfortably. Deep.
Yeah. And I think also engine braking control is a little bit better than that. I don't know what it is. It just feels more natural in a range of corners than the BMW.
Yeah, agreed. Mid-corner?
Mid-corner.
Now this suffers for me, this suffers a little bit of mid-corner, mainly because of on a right angle corner, you're not going to notice it, on off. But if you're trying to hold a constant throttle, just keeping it on the limit, that's where the throttle and the fueling gets a little bit jerky.
Yeah.
And it's quite annoying actually. It's not just like, oh, I think I can go faster. It's like, fuck it, stop doing that.
It's like an MT10.
Yeah.
Stroke levels of the R1.
So against the BMW mid-corner, I think in terms of throttle application, it definitely loses out.
Yeah.
However, it feels like this can carry a bit more corner speed.
Yeah. I'd say within, without timing it and without getting data out, you're probably another couple of miles an hour. It feels like another couple of miles an hour on that. And also, more importantly, like you said, the confidence thing, you feel like you can run that extra little bit corner speed and
lean on the tyre a bit more.
Yes. Yeah. You can push that front end a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just, we've had, obviously with the same tyres on today, we've got Bridgestone VO2 slicks, control tyre. And if you come to a track day like this, an open pit lane for two days, you don't want to be mincing around on road tyres. And
there's no point.
These VO2 slicks are the
ideal.
And
they last as well.
Yeah.
They don't have like such a big cliff.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so the same tyres. But yeah, it just feels like it's just got that little bit more composure mid-corner. And these are straight from the factory. We haven't played with any suspension settings. So I think it's a bit unfair if anyone starts, dialing around. They're bog stock.
Harry Boggers.
And then coming to corner exit, and this has got the jump on it.
Yes.
It's just got that rompant. It just feels like it's more ready to go. I mean, and I can't believe I'm saying that over the BMW because that engine's just been phenomenal for so many years. But this just feels like it's spinning up quicker.
Yeah, and it's that VVT thing again. I mean, there's no way you could have that sort of power delivery and all through the rev range. And because the top end, we'll get to that in a minute, I suppose, but the top end is ridiculous. It makes the right noises. It's just
coming down here, even with that stock massive can on, it sounds really good. It's got a really nice raspy tone to it, like a howly rasp.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I wonder if that's anything to do with the valve timing.
Well, it's interesting. Everyone was watching us into the braking zone here, and they said that they commented on how good that sounds off the throttle.
Yeah.
So the engine braking control, or the VVT, or whatever it is, working its magic. But like I said, the sound is part of the riding experience.
Absolutely.
It's that sort of metallic. It doesn't sound very good initially.
It's a flavour enhancer. It's an E number to the ice lolly.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's got the jump on it. Again, marginally, data loggers aside, it's probably not going to be that much difference. But
no.
Ultimately, most of us do this to have a brilliant time and feel good. And that's the bike that feels like you're going faster. If you are or not, it's kind of fairly irrelevant to most people, but that's the one you feel like you're a hero on.
Interestingly though, it's following you. You were on that. I was on the BMW. You know, even if I got better drive than you, got on the corner exit, and had a better line, you still had that little gap. You still pull that little bit of.
Maybe I'm just faster than you.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe just a.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
But down the straight, when it gets going, they're pretty much the same.
Yes.
Once it gets up above 120, 130, wind resistance, etc., with our fatties on it, there's not much in it.
Your summary, hit it.
GSX-R is, for this event, I think that is nigh on the complete package out the box, and it gives you thrills. Being a Suzuki, it should go on forever, and it just feels more fun. It just feels more fun around the track. It feels better composed. The forks are better. The brakes possibly not, but I can live with those little bits. And the blipper, I'm just happy it's got one, quite frankly. I can live with it failing every now and again. However, that BMW is a fantastic bike. And then when it comes to, I've got £16,000 cash on the table, and what you want to live with, most people aren't going to just buy it solely, stick it on track. So, you know, there's a road element, and I'm sure they'd be pretty much the same on the road. Probably the BMW would take it, but as an ownership experience, BMW servicing is, in my opinion, an experience, something is well worth taking into consideration when you're spending that much money on a bike. Like, some of the Japanese guys aren't quite there yet with their, you know, walk into a showroom, sometimes they don't even have demo models on, and it's like, well, it's a bit rubbish. Whereas BMW, you know, it's worth paying that premium to have that level of service. So, however, I'd choose this. Because I don't care, that's it, I'll put up with the problems with it.
You know, as we touched on earlier, I think there isn't one nasty 1000cc superbike in that pack now.
No.
It's all dependent on what you like the look of, how you want to feel, and you know, let's talk about this being the benchmark.
Yeah.
And Suzuki have got that benchmark, and I think it's just got a little ruler's width, and gone ding.
Yeah.
And we all ride bikes because we want to have fun. We all ride bikes because we like the thrills, and that Suzuki gives me a little bit more thrills, a soupçon, just on the limit.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the one I take.
So, Don Tico's?
Don Tico's.
You only live once. Españolo.